Hey everyone, Rafe Abrook here from Rafe Abrook Wedding Photography. Over the next few weeks I'm going to be bringing you guys the top 10 tips for brides and grooms from a wedding photographer's perspective. There's going to be all sorts of stuff in there for you, lots of little tips that are going to help you better plan your day from my perspective, the wedding photographer that's there pretty much for the whole day. So there's a lot of stuff we see and there's a lot of advice in over 220 weddings that I've shot. There's a lot of stuff that I think could help you all. So if you aren't following me on Instagram or Facebook, then go find my pages at Rafe Abrook, follow me on there. Also through the Hitchin Wedding Collective as well. And you'll see my videos over the next couple of weeks and hopefully there'll be some useful stuff for you guys on there. Top tip number 1, time your wedding ceremony to perfection. Particularly if you're getting married in the UK in winter, because it can be getting dark anything from sort of 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30, depending on the month you get married. Now we have about a window of an hour and a half to get a lot of the stuff we want to do outside after the ceremony. So if your ceremony is late in the day at 3 o'clock, then we might not get you outside till 3:30, 3:40, and it could be getting dark pretty quickly. So if we want to get family group shots in daylight, and most importantly bride and groom portraits in daylight, then bring your ceremony forward. Something around 1 o'clock in winter works really well, but probably 2 o'clock at the latest is what you want. In the summer, have a think about how early you want to have that ceremony. If you have it at 12, think about how early the bridal party needs to get up. So the sweet spot for me is usually around 1 to 2 p.m. and that's what works best. So top tip number 2, let your wedding suppliers recommend other wedding suppliers. Those of us that have been in the game a long time and have our livelihoods linked to it, we really know the difference between good, bad and average. And our jobs can be made easier by working with other professionals. So for me, working with a videographer that understands what I need, working with a makeup artist that understands what good light is, working with a band that really wants to be there and do weddings, these things make such a difference to your day. Personally, myself and my friends in the industry, we don't get any kickbacks from it. It's purely about trying to make your day as good as possible. And if everything's going brilliantly for you and you've got all the best team of suppliers around you, I promise you we all benefit from it. One of the things I've done is with my friend Katie, we formed the Hitchin Wedding Collective, so we can do this through a group of local suppliers that we know are the very best of the best. Top tip number 3, make sure you have a conversation with your vicar or priest about your wedding photography before the big day. It's so important to do this in advance. On the day, there's too much going on. I don't want to be negotiating with them about trying to get to the front of the church. For me, I really want to get up at the business end where the action's happening to get my best photographs. I'll be quiet, I'll be good, I've got a silent camera, I'm not going to be disturbing anyone, but you must have that conversation beforehand. If I can't go there for church rules, that's fine, but we all need to know beforehand so that your expectations and mine can be met. So just make sure you really have that conversation with them and explain to them how important your photography and videography are and that you really want them to capture this church in the best light. And usually that works a little bit. But then let me know if there's a problem and hopefully we can work it through and, get to the best compromise. So, okay, top tip number 4, plan your speeches. Now, I believe the best time to have the speeches is at the end of the wedding breakfast when everyone's eaten, because their attention spans are going to be so much better than if you do them before. If you do them before everyone's expecting to eat, then you start seeing people getting a bit sort of, disengaged with the speeches if they go on too long. So if you think they're going to be quite long speeches, definitely do them at the end. I know some people stagger them through the meal, but again, it's a bit stop-start and it doesn't work quite as well. I think the traditional do the speeches at the end just seems to work the best from my perspective in terms of getting the most engagement with them. One thing to think about as well is the timings. Maybe tell your people doing speeches, try and keep it 5 to 10 minutes so it doesn't impinge on the rest of the evening stuff. If everyone has a 20-minute speech, then it's going to throw the whole evening plan out, so bear that in mind as well. Top tip number 5, keep control of your family group shots. Now, after the confetti throw, if there's an opportunity for me to get high enough, I sometimes like to get a group shot of everyone. What that does is it means that everyone feels like they've been in a formal photo. The reality is, of course, I'm going to be taking loads of candid shots of everyone through the day, which is why my clients usually book me anyway. But when it comes to the family group shots a bit later in the reception, it's really crucial that we stick to the list that we've agreed. If we do that, we can get them done in half an hour, no problem, and it won't impinge on the bride and groom portraits, which are probably the most important photos of the day, and that's so important to me. So it's really just a case of getting a list agreed, letting mum, dad, grandparents know, So they know in advance, so there's no change on the day, and we just get through them in a nice, neat and tidy way, allowing of course for people to wander off. That always happens, it's not a problem. But that is going to be a massive stress relief if we can do it in a slick way, and it means that you get the best bride and groom portrait time that you deserve. Top tip number 6, have a bouquet throw. Now if you do a bouquet throw, try and get yourself a cheap £5 mock bouquet off Amazon to save the real one getting thrown, because they can be quite heavy and you've spent hundreds of pounds on them and you really don't want to hit a flower girl in the face with a big heavy bouquet. So if we're going to do it as well, the other thing is try and do it during the daylight hours. So if you're in the summer, for example, great time to do it is after the wedding breakfast, before the evening dancing starts. We can get everyone outside where there's still daylight. If we've got to do it in the dark, I've got to use flash, and the flashes can only sync so fast, which means we get less exposures and it's more complicated in terms of lighting. So it's definitely something that's easier to do, and it's a lot more effective, and the photography is much better if we can do it outside when there's daylight. Top tip number 7, book an engagement shoot with your wedding photographer. Now a lot of my couples think that, oh God, that's a really vain thing to do, isn't it? And you know, we're not great in front of the camera. Well, that's more the reason to do it, because the main purpose of booking an engagement shoot is to get used to being in front of the camera and get used to the posing that we'll be doing on the wedding day. And if you can stomach an hour and a half to 2 hours of doing it in an engagement shoot, then the 20-25 minutes you're going to do on your wedding day will just seem like a doddle. So that's the main reason I try and do it. It gives us a bit more time together, gets me used to you guys as a couple, gets you used to me. And those wedding photos can be really useful on the wedding day as well. So if you do them in advance, you can use them on invites, you can use them for bunting, for signing boards, for books, general decoration, and it's going to be better than having to use grainy pictures off your phone as well. So engagement shoots are thumbs up. Top tip number 8, try and rely on other people to help you on the morning of your wedding. Try not to get yourself stressed by worrying about looking after pets or children. Maybe book into a hotel, get ready there so you don't need to worry about the house being clean and tidy. Just try and reduce as much of the stress points as possible, and don't be afraid to ask others for help. You've got bridesmaids, maids of honours, groomsmen, ushers, etc., parents. Use them on your wedding day. Try not to be a hero and try not to do too much. Make things as simple as possible so you can just focus on getting your head straight and getting ready for your wedding day. Top tip number 9, 4 things to ask your wedding photographer before you book them. Number 1, how well do they know their second shooters? Do they just go on a Facebook forum and apply for somebody to come and shoot with them, or is it somebody they've worked with before that shoots in their style and acts the same way? Number 2, do they have all the relevant insurance in place? That's really important. Number 3, what's the contingency if they get ill or break their leg just before the wedding day? Are they going to be able to give the wedding to somebody else who's just as capable, or are you going to have to start your search all over again? And what will be refunded if that happens? Number 4, most importantly, do they require a wedding meal? The most important thing of the day. Yes, I do. I'm a big guy and I need lots of food. And finally, top tip number 10, find out how long your wedding photographer is prepared to stay in the evening. So for me, I like to stay about 2.5, sometimes 3 hours after the first dance, depending on what time it is. For me, that's the time of the day when the couple really truly relax, because they've done all the formalities of the ceremony, the groom's done his speech, they've done the first dance, and after that they can just enjoy themselves, and that's sometimes when they are truly at their happiest and their most natural selves. And because I want natural photos, that's the time of the day when I can really get them. So for me, that's really important, and I think for most of my clients they would agree. So thanks guys for watching, and if you've got any other more questions, hit me up on social media and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Take care, bye now.